Hi, I'm Alex Mustard. I'm the author and photographer of Reefs, a new photographic book about the wonders of coral reefs. For me, this is the book I've always wanted to write. I've been fascinated by the marine environment all my life, and there's no lack of evidence to support that. Educationally, I worked previously as a marine biologist. My PhD is in marine biology. But more recently, and for all my life as a hobby, but more recently as my job, I've worked as an underwater photographer. And my primary interest is photographing coral reefs, so this really is a culmination of everything for me. So it's been a wonderful privilege to do this book, but also something that has fulfilled a lot of my life's ambitions. The aim of this book really is to go beyond. I mean, people have made television documentaries, they've taken photographs on coral reefs before. The aim of this book really was to go one step further, was to reveal something special about the environment. And really that's something I try to bring to every photo I take. Obviously as a photographer I want to create beautiful, stunning, attractive images, and that's an easy thing to do in an environment as fascinating and as gorgeous as diving in a coral reef. But I also bring to every photograph that knowledge of being a scientist is my background. And therefore, every time I point the camera, every time I press the shutter, there remains those biological stories going through my mind that I wish to capture. When I see a subject through years of study and observation, I know the stories I want to tell, and those things that I want to communicate through the pictures. And that's what this book's really about. It's about bringing together both the knowledge that I've learned from the scientific literature, but more importantly, the knowledge that I've learned from spending hours and months and weeks underwater in coral reefs in the Atlantic, in the Indian Ocean, and in the Pacific Ocean. And that's really what this book's about. It's about bringing together all that content. There are a lot of personal stories about my experiences and my particular interests. Scientifically, I'm an ecologist, and that means I'm interested not just in describing species, but in how animals live their lives, how they interact with each other. And that's something I've really tried to bring out in this book. Certainly to anyone who's seen pictures from coral reefs before, I think they'd be immediately struck by some of the behaviour shots in the book, showing animals interacting with each other in ways that haven't been recorded before. But also, it was important not just to go down the scientific route. It's important to show the wonders of the stage, the environment in which these dramas are played out. But also to occasionally to remove my sort of scientific background and to take pictures that perhaps cross the line from pure academic science into to what any person interested in natural history would observe when they visited a coral reef. And by that I mean there's wonderful creatures down there, and there's an individuality in all life. And so it was important to introduce portrait pictures into the portfolio that really captured an essence of each creature, the character, the emotions, that are clearly there to be seen as an observer without the scientific hat, but obviously in the cold light of science is something that we have to ignore. And it was important to show that side of the reef as well. Perhaps the biggest challenge with a book like this is not to find the pictures to put in, but to find the ones to leave out. Coral reefs are an incredibly diverse environment. There's several million species, even by conservative estimates, that live there. And it's impossible in any book to tell each of their stories. So really the challenge for this book was to work out very precisely what I wanted to communicate. So visually the book is very much an emotional journey. It's about majesty of some of the beautiful creatures. It's about the intricate relationships between them. It's about very personal stories of their everyday lives. But the subtext is very much a scientific one, and I think that the book can work very much on that level. There's certainly anyone who's a keen student of coral reefs will no doubt be surprised by some of the facts they learn, not only from the scientific literature but also from my own observations in the environment. And I think as a whole, the book is something of a sort of a renaissance project in that it brings together both art and science in a very unusual volume.